Welcome, Amazonian wish makers, to Geek Salad's Retro Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we got through one Pixar movie and now we're taking a break.
Two Pixar movies.
One in a row, though. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so,
I mean, we've only got like 19 Pixar movies. We got to stretch it out.
We do want to stretch it out. We'll try to get it done throughout the rest of the year, sans vacations and whatnot. But yeah, so we are taking a break from that because you know what I wish for, Mike?
I don't know, but I think I will grant you a wish.
You're going to grant me a wish? Because
yes.
I wish I had a better movie in Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, we are going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as humanly possible, but I'm of two minds about this. One, I don't think we can. Mainly because in order to do any type of discussion of this movie, we have to reveal key plot points of the movie. Secondly, based on how bad these reviews were, if you didn't watch it, you're probably not going to see it, nor will you remember our review. So we'll leave it at that. So
maybe we should begin the beginning of the review. We keep it spoiler free, and then we go into the spoilers. We
try to do that. I'll do my best. Yeah. There are no promises, by the way, folks. So if I accidentally spoil anything for you, that's what that free month of HBO Max is supposed to be for, right? Not the Snyder Cut.
Yes. Well, we will not grant your wish.
You're not going to grant my wish. You know what I wish? I wish that, well, first of all, I wish that the people, and I'm not saying this to be mean, and I'm not saying this to kind of be like a toxic fan, but just on the topic of HBO Max real quick, everybody right now is all hot and bothered in the nethers about the new Godzilla King Kong movie. And rightfully so. I'm sure that it will be a fun, dumb movie that gives you exactly what it is supposed to do. Giant monsters beating the crap out of each other.
I like that trailer up until they start playing that awful song. Like, as soon as I play, it's like, wait, what the hell is going on here?
Well, the thing is with film Twitter, everyone's like, yes, I can't wait for this. This is the moment I'm waiting for. Y'all said the same thing about Godzilla King of Monsters, and nobody went to go see that. And then I was with you. We went opening night. And it was exactly what we expected. I don't expect, it's one of these things that I don't scrutinize a movie like that. The characters could have been a little better fleshed out. They wasted these characters. I don't care. It's giant monsters beating the crap out of each other.
The entire point of these movies is to see giant monsters destroying each other. That's it.
Everything around them.
Yeah. And if you've seen any of the old Japanese Godzilla movies, that is exactly what they were for. The human characters were thrown away.
Yeah. I truly hope that the enthusiasm that's going into Godzilla and King Kong matches the enthusiasm when you actually watch it. Unless the movie absolutely sucks and it's only it's kind of like Batman versus Superman in terms of, okay, that's the title of the movie, and you gave me, 10 minutes of Batman versus Superman?
And the rest is Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, the rest is Dawn of Justice. Oh, my God. So that gets us back on track with DC.
Yeah.
So, all right. Cards on the table. When it comes to the DCEU, the DC Cinematic Funtime Animated Universe, you almost have to rank them in the good but flawed, the flawed, not so good, or you know what, we just call them mediocre, and then the abhorrent abominations. Quite honestly, even for the stuff that I like, the good but flawed, in my opinion, that is Shazam, that is Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, I'm just going to call it Harley Quinn to just make you happy, and Wonder Woman. Those are good, flawed movies.
Yeah,
Wonder Woman 1984 falls in the mediocre
category
alongside Aquaman. I will say I enjoyed this movie more than I liked Aquaman.
You see, that was my initial thought, but the more you think about this movie, the less good it gets. So, like, when I first finished watching this, I'm like, okay, I like that one more than Aquaman. The following day, I'm like, did I like it more than Aquaman?
I feel like the problem with the Wonder Woman movies, and I'm just Wonder Woman in general, is that there is too much decompression time. The reason why I feel like we mentioned this almost exactly a year ago when we reviewed Wonder Woman 17, was that it falls apart, and it falls apart dramatically in that third act. And the more time that goes on, it's no longer, man, I really love that movie, into, it was good, it was fine.
Yep.
Could have done with that third act. Could have done without David Thewlis's Ares. But this one is the same thing. It went from being like, okay, you know what? I'm glad that they're taking some risks with this, into, man, that 2.5 hour runtime is tedious.
Yeah, and I would say that this movie, I think the third act falls apart even harder than originally Wonder Woman did.
You are not kidding.
That third act is just an abominational mess. It is awful.
It's well, the biggest issue with this is confusing.
For me, the biggest issue is it does a cardinal sin of movies in that it breaks its own rules. It sets a bunch of rules in the first two acts, and the third act they're like, fuck it, let's do whatever we want.
You know what? He can grant people wishes. I don't get that. So, all right, I'm going to give a little thing. If you see me do this, I'm spoiling something, okay? And then when I remove, when I go back and I do this, you can.
I'm not dictating.
We are not spoiling anything. Okay, so right now, earmuffs. Okay, earmuffs.
We should get you a hat with big antlers.
I really should. Okay, so we're just gonna earmuff everybody. Okay, and you can't hear me. Okay, I'm gonna take my fingers out of my ears right now so I can spoil something. What did Barbara get 2 wishes?
Yes, she did.
How in the fuck did that happen?
Because he was feeling generous, despite the fact that it had already been established. He's like, "Oh, did I already grant your wish? Oh, sorry. Suddenly, I can change my rules."
Not to mention that Diana never says her wish out loud.
Yeah.
And it's like the verbalized thing, because if it's just like, I have to think about this wish, why does he need to go on TV?
I don't know.
Okay, so now you can, all right, earmuffs off. I don't know if this movie is just like, I almost feel like this thing has been in the can for well over a year.
Yeah. It was getting to the point where they were like, we have to release it. We can't hold on to this any longer.
Right, exactly. And
that was on them.
We talked about this with Thomas on Movies After Work, and actually he and Nick from Black Girls Do Stuff Too, 2 of our favorite co-hosts.
Yeah,
they actually discussed Wonder Woman 84, and I spoiled the movie for myself till I wanted to listen to them talk about it. And you know what, I was fine. Because I'm listening to them talk about things, and I'm like, okay, oh, that seems weird. That seems weird. But I didn't actually mentally come to the conclusion that any of the stuff that they were talking about was actually going to happen, because there's no possible way that could have happened in such a ham-fisted way.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. I think the biggest issue with this movie to me is that it's disappointing. Mainly because there is still, as flawed as the first Wonder Woman is, it is still a very good movie. And to follow it up with something that is just so dare I say, BVS unfocused.
Not nearly that bad, trust me.
No, it's not nearly that bad. I mean, it's not, and that's the thing, is that this movie, there is good within this movie. I still like Gal Gadot. I'm not as like over the moon with her anymore because they let her, I hate to say they let her act this time around, and it wasn't nearly as good.
Yeah, but you know what? One of the bright sides for me for this movie was the chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot is still off the charts. I mean, those two are just fantastic together.
No, I love them, and I really loved Chris Pine getting used to a new world.
Yeah,
and I'm not spoiling anything that is in the trailers.
Even if the way that they got him there was, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we get Chris Pine there? Sure, why not?
Sure, that's cool. You know, Diana can sexually assault a stranger. That dude had no consent. That dude had no consent.
Because the spirit of her ex-boyfriend is in him.
I'm sure, you know, that'll hold up in court.
Although, you know what? Quite frankly, if I was that stranger, I was like, sure, I just wish I could remember it.
All right, I'm going to give you a very odd, kind of very solely Andy-focused type of gripe about this movie.
I've had experience with these, so don't worry.
Okay, you have had many, buddy. 12 years. 12 years of our heteronormative marriage, union. I really, really, really resent the fact that they build this as taking place in 1984. Because outside the parachute pants gag, it could have taken place anytime.
They had one 80s song on the soundtrack. That's it.
What was the 80s song? Because I missed that.
It was Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Relax?
No.
Two Tribes?
Xanadu. No, Xanadu. Xanadu, Kuba Khan.
Okay.
They played it like during that dinner, during that the scene where she meets Chris Pine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the thing is that the trailer teased us with that awesome mix of Blue Monday, which is an all-time favorite of mine because I love New Order so much, and because I'm playing the bass again, I get to play Peter Hook a lot, which is awesome. But yeah, there was really no 80s in this 80s movie. The parachute pants gag is pretty much it.
Oh, the song is "Welcome to the Pleasure Dome."
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Yeah, which did come out in October of '84, and I don't know. This movie seemed to take place in the summer, so
it took place in July. It definitely took place in July because of the fireworks.
So the song actually hadn't been released yet, but sure, advance copy.
You know what? I'll grant it that it's not like Hot Tub Time Machine, which takes place in 1986, and there's a Rambo 3 poster, and I'm just like, so I have to ruin everything.
Time continuity.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get anachronistic about the 80s with me, okay? Yeah.
It had zero. You could have done it at any time, really.
You absolutely could have. I feel like the only reason why they placed it in the 80s was solely so it would not affect any of the Justice League timeline, the Snyder line, as you will, because I really kind of feel like they let this movie just kind of fly in its own. Yeah. This was going to have no impact one way or it would have no impact one way or another on any of the subsequent movies, which is also a detriment to it because it takes place in between her first movie and a current movie. We know that there is no stakes for Diana at all. We know that earmuffs. We know Steve isn't going to make it,
and we know the world doesn't end. So all those wishes are
meaningless, right? All right. What are your thoughts on Kristen Wiig? let's talk about some of these supporting characters here.
For the first, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes of the movie, I was actually interested in her. And then she makes a wish. That's as far as I'm going to go with spoilers. And then she quickly becomes rapidly less interesting and until the end where she's just a afterthought.
It's not, yeah, okay, and it's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. She is not a compelling villain.
No,
it's hard to take her seriously as a villain only because, and this is like if you can do comedy as well as she can, and convincingly pull off a villainous role, good for you. It doesn't happen with everybody,
and it didn't happen here.
It did not happen here. The one thing about, well, I mean, and this is one thing about Marvel villains, especially the MCU villains, is that you tend to, for the most part, the best villains are the ones that you actually like to see on screen. We've discussed this before, like the latter part of Phase 3. Every villain is a great villain. Thanos is a great villain.
Knocked it out of the park.
Killmonger.
Great villain. Yeah.
Even, you know what? I'll even go so far as to say that Helmut Zemo.
I completely agree.
I am on the Zemo train. I can't wait.
I am very much on it.
In Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I just feel like she is not a compelling villain. She is positioned as a secondary villain, even though Cheetah is like top tier Wonder Woman villain. And her final transformation, which is shown in the trailer. And remember, after that final trailer, you, me, and Tom talked about this, and we're like, they've had a year to fix this CG. And when I sat down the weekend after Christmas and watched this with my children, I'm like, they didn't finish the CG.
Seriously, her face, you could see the makeup lines on her face.
It looked bad. Yeah. It wasn't as, you know what, honestly, I'll give it this. It wasn't as ridiculous as seeing David Thewlis's face in the Ares armor at the end of Wonder Woman 17.
And at least most of that fight scene was shot like in the half dark. And you really, I mean, except for a few shots where you could tell it's just really bad makeup. Yeah. Most of the time she's moving so fast you can't really see much.
Well, that's the CG.
Yeah.
And it's just it's tough. It's a hard scene to watch because it's really hard to keep track of, which is a glaring fault of these movies. And this is the entire spectrum on the whole, with the exceptions of Shazam and Birds of Prey. They are, it's dark, it's tough to see. At least Maxwell Lord didn't have minions, because that would have looked terrible.
Yeah. Well, how terrible are we talking? Are we talking Cheetah terrible? Or are we talking that weird looking armor terrible? I didn't. What the heck was up with that armor?
Oh my god!
I didn't understand that at all.
That is Schumacher, Batman and Robin ice bat suit.
Those have big wings that do absolutely nothing.
There was, seriously, no point in that suit. And it's like, I really wanted to like this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
the craziest thing about this movie is it's not the worst of the stuff.
Genuinely, for the first 2 acts of this movie, it was like, okay, there's a few weird things here, but it's not awful. I don't get and then that third act, I'm like, oh, okay, there it goes. Yeah, yep. Off the rails. Really, it just crashing and burning.
I just found myself throughout the entire movie going, okay, just sitting there, with my kids, and it's because. And this is going to be the issue going forward with these theatrical releases, that due to the pandemic are now showing on your television. I'm doing a lot of this.
Yeah. And I mean, the really sad thing though is the fact that, I mean, yeah, I haven't seen the Harley Quinn movie yet. But I was just thinking about this the following day. Is like, through sheer process of elimination, this is either my third or fourth favorite DC movie, and how sad is that?
It's like I said, it falls within mediocre, and there's only one other just straight up mediocre DC movie, and that is Aquaman.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm just bouncing back. Which one do I get? Because I honestly, I haven't seen Aquaman since I saw it in theaters. This one's a lot more fresh. So
it's a lot more fresh. I mean, again, well, so let me posit this to you, okay? And think about this. And if anybody in the audience who's watching this right now, if you have the ability to comment, let us know.
No one's watching us right now.
No one's watching right now. All right, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That
and no one's watching us live. I'm sure people will watch us eventually
later. Our views have been going up, thank Christ.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Do you feel like the movie going, like an actual movie going experience, would have enhanced this movie more, or do you still think it's gonna? I still think at the end of the day, it runs Aquaman lukewarm.
I still think that, like, as soon as, like, when I walk out of the theater, I'd be like, oh, okay, man, I had a lot of fun with that, except for the third act. It was enjoyable. But just the more like I said, the more you think about this movie, the less good it gets. It's just the more of the flaws just kind of, oh, wait, no, that, oh, yeah, that, oh, yeah. Whereas kind of I think I kind of put Aquaman above this one just the fact that it's a lot more goofy fun.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, Jason Momoa is just so much fun to watch. He's more fun than watch than Gal Gadot. I like Gal Gadot, but Jason Momoa is just like, I got a man crush on him. I'm not afraid to say it.
Dreamier than she is,
and that's weird considering that she's a former underwear model.
Yeah. I just, you know what, the thing is with this movie, and this is the one thing I liked about this movie versus Aquaman. Because the way Aquaman was sold to me from people I worked with was the special effects are amazing. So I watched the special effects, and I literally felt like the super effects supervisor pulled down his pants and just left his balls like just 6 inches away from my face. And that's all I'm watching. Because it's like, this is just a wall of nonsense you're showing me right now.
So you're saying Aquaman teabagged you?
Not really teabagged me. Like, nothing actually would touch, but it's just like this wall of just like visual bukkake.
Testicular.
It's just like, okay, well, here's a bunch of fish. Yeah. And that's like, and I'm gonna say this because it actually in the Twitter group I'm in, we were talking about because I brought up that we were reviewing this tonight, and I'm like, we're talking about the R rating now for Snyder Cut, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it because essentially it's going to be 4 hours of Easter egg bukkake.
I'm not looking forward to it because I don't think Zack Snyder is all that great of a director.
I don't think he is either. But every time they drop, it's just like, do you remember the lead up to BVS?
Yeah.
And do you remember it's like every week it would be like, oh, by the way, Cyborg is going to show up in this. Oh, by the way, Flash is going to show up. It's like, what the fuck are they just going to announce Lobo in this thing for cut in your not Justice League movie? And this is like the same thing. It's like, oh, by the way, we got Darkseid. Oh, by the way, now we got Jared Leto's Joker, the most popular Joker. It's.
I think Mark Hamill would have a few things to say about that.
I think that Cesar Romero would have a few things to say about that.
And that killer white stash of his.
The thing with Wonder Woman is that at the very least, while it is 2.5 hours long, and I'll never forgive them for that.
Yeah.
At least at least it wasn't that wall of sound in terms of special effects. They weren't bombarding you with bad special effects, which is something that they have still 9 movies in or what. I've lost count of how many movies are actually in this grouping.
And genuinely, it kind of depends on who you ask.
Nobody counts Joker. Fortunately, nobody counts Joker in this because it's not the same thing, because that is a real movie, according to some. That the special effects have never been great. So the fact that I wasn't like, and when they did do them, they were still terrible, like we mentioned about Cheetah. But I just kind of feel like there weren't as many just in your face, just flopping their balls in front of you special effects in this movie, which was refreshing. And the fact that they're able to actually use color in about 75% of this movie was a refreshing change.
Yeah. The thing that always just gets me about this movie, the thing that's like kind of bringing it below Aquaman, is the fact that it had so many nonsensical plot points that were vital to the story that just made zero sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
The fact that they bring in the invisible jet, but how they come about it is the most half-assed way I've ever heard.
That was one of the biggest letdowns, because it's just one of those things.
That's the fact, is that the scene that it's in is gorgeous. It is a fantastic scene, but it's just like how we got to that scene was just it happens. Whatever.
It's a throwaway reference, which is just like, I kind of feel like DC does this where they don't want to call attention to these Easter eggs, but they'll throw a shit ton of them out.
And the fact that they don't call attention to it is kind of them calling attention to it.
Yeah. I mean,
they're just like, it's so half-assed that oh yeah, it's just there. Well, yeah, it is there.
Another thing, and this is a problem within DCEU in general, is that there's never that rally moment where if you're watching this with an audience of people, there's no Cap getting Mjolnir.
Yeah.
There is there is nothing like that in any of these movies. There's no
Martha. Martha.
Oh. Yeah! I can't believe somebody else noticed that. I felt so alone. And it's just, I don't know. I really.
As much, I love Cheetah and the fact that they kind of screwed over in this movie. And the fact that how that fight ended it made no sense whatsoever.
She electrocuted her, but she's
fine.
Survived.
Yeah. We're both being electrocuted, but I'm not. I'm fine, and you're just stunned. What?
I don't. It's tough because the more I talk about this movie, this is like therapy. Tonight is just therapy. I have had nobody really to talk to about this movie, like physically, just like, oh, by the way, I saw Wonder Woman 84. And it's really difficult. That's why I kind of wanted to get this out in the open and we can discuss this one.
And again, more spoilers here. I have to get this off my chest. How many civilizations were completely destroyed by this stone? Because as that historian said, no one ever had the will to renounce their wish, except for apparently now everybody in the world. What the fuck?
In 1984, the height of the Reagan era, the me generation.
I want to give up everything I want.
Fame and riches. Right, we haven't discussed yet was Maxwell Lord.
Which is odd because most of the movie is about him.
It is. It is about him, but it's not about him because you only get fleeting images of like what kind of drove him to essentially be a Bernie Madoff. I mean, the guy's a scam artist.
Yeah.
Not nearly as powerful as they make him out to be in the comic books. And this weird relationship he has with his son. I don't quite get that at all. Because the kid is just there to make him look like a neglectful father. There's no other reason for that kid to be there.
Yeah, and I mean, we get like hints that he cares about him, but then it's like yeah, whatever, and then at the end, oh no.
I will face no repercussions for my actions.
Yeah, no repercussions for anybody.
Nope.
I mean, Barbara walks into the White House and takes out the entire armed Secret Service staff.
Yeah.
Oh, who cares? Well, whatever.
I'm not one to say that a bunch of bleeding heart liberals actually made this movie, but I do love that the Reagan stand-in's like, what's your wish? I wish for more nuclear warheads.
Yeah.
That was just... Where's my heart? It's on my sleeve. It's just so like... Because I'm just watching that like...
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Like I said, the more you think about this, the more it just keeps going down that slope.
This feels like the first Transformers to me. Because you remember that? It's like I saw the first Transformers and I'm like, it wasn't bad. Then my brain went to work on it. Yeah. And then it's like, well, why did they bring the Matrix into a heavily populated area? What was the army thinking? Oh my God, you're right.
I wish I was more like Diana. Well, physically, but nowhere, not like, not emotionally or attractively or charismatically. Or,
yeah.
I just, well, you just said you wish to be more like Diana. So why weren't you more kind?
Seriously. It's just like all I wanted was strength and, show off 80s workout wear.
Yeah. But you know what? Hey, she got to bang Pedro Pascal, so whatever.
Did she though? Yeah, that's right. She did. Yeah. I forgot about that because that's the only way he could have gotten the stone from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it's still not the worst thing they've done.
No.
Quite honestly,
no.
That honor still goes between BVS and Suicide Squad. Hands down, the two most odious things that they've made.
For me, it's BVS easy, and then Suicide Squad slightly above that.
That's me too. And it's only like I honestly hate Suicide Squad more, but Batman versus Superman had a whole lot of expectations that none of which were fulfilled. It's like, I am going to be the Green Arrow, and I'm going, oh shit.
Well, but
I missed that mark.
Let me ask you one question though. Would you like a cherry Jolly Rancher?
Shut your fucking mouth. Oh my God. Hey, I have an idea.
Let me force feed you.
We've got Lex Luthor, but he's not really Lex Luthor. He's Alexander. Just stop it! Stop it! People don't know how to make movies. Meanwhile, I'm being told that everything Marvel makes is like a cookie cutter. It's like, are you watching WandaVision?
Yeah. Each episode is a different movie.
Even the one that doesn't reference a sitcom is still referencing a television show.
I watched it.
But do you have any other thoughts, Mike, on Wonder Woman 84? I kind of want to wrap this only because my anger is growing and I do have to get up to work in the morning.
Yeah, just like the as we were talking, it moved down enough for me to put Aquaman above it. It's just,
okay. All right.
So by default, it's my fourth favorite.
Well, like I said, we are going to rank these this year.
Yeah, which means I do have to watch the Harley Quinn movie.
Which one? Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah. And I honestly think you'll be pleasantly surprised by it.
No, like I said, I don't think I'm going to dislike it. I just dislike the concept of it.
I understand that. I can totally get behind that. It is the Harley Quinn movie. It is not the Birds of Prey movie. We've all discussed that. Yeah. And I have mentioned that many times, especially to our friend M, when she reviewed Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. I do think, though, you will like that one way more than you will like Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah.
So
for me, Shazam is still the high bar. Nothing's beating that one.
I actually, the more I think about it, I kind of think I almost like Harley Quinn better, but not by much. Not by much. Again, I think that both of them are good movies that have their flaws.
Yeah, but they're just so much fun.
And that's the thing. It's like they introduce fun into the DCEU instead of like this Sturm and Drang of, I'm such a conflicted hero.
Ennui!
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna get the vapors. Batman should have been raped in prison. Actual Zack Snyder quote. So anyway, we're gonna push it off to you folks. What did you think about Wonder Woman 84? Where does it rank? Where does it fall in the Andy DCEU descriptions of good but flawed, mediocre, or odious? I think odious is a better term. I'm going to use that.
Odious Maximus.
Odious Maximus. I want to know where you would place Wonder Woman 84 and what movie sits above that one. We really hope you've watched that movie. If not, I don't think, if you're a comic book fan, you didn't get a chance to watch it, me and Mike talking about this isn't going to spoil your viewing pleasure of it.
I just thought of one more thing. I also think it was kind of funny that Robin Wright got, top build credit when she's really only in like 20 minutes.
Can I tell you a story about that, by the way? So HBO Max has finally gotten onto Roku. So the app finally works on my TV. And I'm sitting there and watching that with the kids, and everything seems slow. The audio seemed fine, but everything seemed choppy and slow. So I'm like, is this like a dream? And there's, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to Chromecast it instead and see what happens. And it worked fine. I'm like, fucking HBO Max. So yeah. And yeah, no, you're right. Robin Wright deserved better.
Yeah. Well, she always does. She's phenomenal.
She is. God, love to have a second career like hers, right? So anyway,
I love to have a first career like hers.
Yeah. So we want to know, what are your thoughts on Wonder Woman 84? You love it? Not so much? In the middle? Did you hate it? We want to know, but keep it polite, keep it civil in the comments. If you like what you saw here, please give us a big thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button and share this with your friends. Tell them that there's these two idiots who just get all riled up over nothing. We've got toys in the back.
I've got a Star Wars hat.
Yes, exactly. Which
that
one
you
is
gave
that?
Me.
Was that Galaxy's Edge hat?
Yeah.
So yes, you can check out all of our stuff here at YouTube. You can also follow our little podcast, Geek Salad, at geeksalad.podbean.com. Or wherever you get your podcast. You can follow us on the socials at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. You can also check us out and buy our wares at TeePublic using the keyword Geek Salad Podcast. Yay! And then maybe next week we'll go back to Pixar?
Yeah, probably. I don't have anything better.
I don't know. Also, stay tuned. Later this week, we've got a retro record review coming up. We put the poll out on our Twitters. And guess what, folks? If you spoke, we listened. We're going to be reviewing the 1991 Metallica Black album.
Oh, I was hoping for Steve Winwood.
Did Steve Winwood release an album in 1991?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, it ties into a podcast that's coming up pretty soon, Mike. So.
No, I can't think of one.
Okay. All right. So anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We wish you well.